Is the Big 12 Conference in trouble, or are they just in the midst of a rebuild? Today's episode of College Football Talk, I'm going to be breaking down why I think the Big 12 is starting to position themselves to be one of the few conferences, if any, outside of the Big Ten and the SEC to survive this merging together into what really will be two super mega conferences, whatever term you want to use. And it goes beyond just the addition of Colorado. Before I dive in, if you want to see more college football talk on College Football Talk, please hit that subscribe button, leave a like at the end of the video if you enjoy. But without further ado, let's dive into it. The most electrifying environments, the most passionate fan bases, the traditions we hold dear, the tailgates we wake up early for, the memories we make, the rivals we hate, and the losses we try to forget. This is college football. Welcome to College Football Talk. So again, in this episode of College Football Talk, I'm Peter Burtnett. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to be diving into why I think the Big 12 is kind of positioning themselves to be in a good spot as this just massive realignment shift is happening that really, I think, and most people in the college football landscape believe, points toward having the superpower out of the Midwest that's expanding obviously to the West Coast, and then the kind of the same thing that's happening in the SEC with Texas and Oklahoma, and probably they're going to be pulling a few teams from the ACC in the next couple of years. But that question that I think is arising for the Big 12, the Pac-12, and the ACC is if those conferences will be able to survive this change. And I think that the Big 12 will. We saw today, maybe yesterday, whenever I post this video, that Colorado officially, I know the news broke yesterday that they got voted into the Pac-12 conference or into the Big 12 conference, and today it kind of officially went through. And there's obviously, I think, no other program in college football has made as much noise in the last year as Colorado has, with the addition of Coach Prime, Deion Sanders at the head coach position, and all the growth that's coming for the Buffaloes out there in Boulder. But I think it goes beyond that. And yeah, there's two massive losses. Easily the two biggest programs in the conference, Texas and Oklahoma, both the Longhorns and the Sooners are heading for the SEC next year. But I like the additions that they made. And I'm really looking forward to this college football season, seeing BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF, Central Florida, joining the Big 12. I think those teams will add just a dynamic to the conference. It also, I think, unfortunately, and as somebody who's grown up, just in Big Ten country for most of my life, and then spent some time in SEC country as well, kind of ACC country as well, but regardless, somebody who's spent time in those areas, the regionality of it is going to be missed. The SEC is kind of keeping that. They're going to be, I think, the South. The Big Ten is pretty much kind of the rest of the pieces, kind of spreading out from the Midwest. And I think the Big 12, with this just massive, you go from BYU all the way out in Utah, all the way down to Orlando. So the Big 12 is kind of already going towards that. I think what the Big 12 can do is establish themselves potentially as kind of that second tier, because the Big 10 and the SEC are going to establish themselves as like the top dogs, and they really already have, and the SEC is even at a higher level. The addition of teams like USC and UCLA might be able to, especially where USC is right now, and even what Chip Kelly is doing out at UCLA as well. Both of those teams are positioned to, first of all, they have the tradition and the resource and everything, but they are they are good football teams right now, and when they join the Big Ten, they should still both be kind of at the top of where they've been really for 20 years or so. So both of those teams are, I think, going to help the Big Ten. As of what we know the future is going to look like right now, I think the SEC, even without Texas and Oklahoma, is probably at the top because they have the national championships to back it up. But with the addition of Texas and Oklahoma, I think the Southeastern Conference is easily the top dog, and the Longhorns and Sooners just kind of add to that. But the Big 12, I like them to be kind of the conference that maybe survives this change. We haven't seen movement really from the ACC yet. We haven't seen any at all. So it's a possibility that they do, but I think aside from Florida State and Clemson, and I would not be surprised at all, it's probably a bidding war between the Big Ten and the SEC at this point, just kind of a matter of time. You'd expect them to go both to the SEC, but as of right now, it's possible the ACC survives. You look at basketball, you've got North Carolina and Duke as well, and they both have at times had good football programs. But again, I think because of the 4 teams that the Big 12 added for this season, and then with Colorado coming in the future, even if I think it does hinge potentially on how long Coach Prime stays at Colorado. If he stays there for a while, as long as it takes for this move to become official and for the Buffaloes to actually play in the Big 12, and it's also a homecoming of sort, there's a lot of tradition there, it might draw some teams like potentially in Nebraska out of the Big 10. I would expect Nebraska to stay put, but who knows? Having a kind of an old rival going there could. I mean, Nebraska's kind of caught between, you got Oklahoma joining the SEC, obviously a traditional rival, some really good matchups between those two teams, and then you've got Colorado joining the Big 12, and of course their biggest rival being Iowa in the Big 10. So, those teams, I think, though, again, there's not really tradition for any of those teams, even against each other. Even Cincinnati and UCF having been in the same conference, and Houston, there isn't much between any of those teams. But Colorado and BYU both being in the Big 12 also provides kind of a regional rivalry. And so I am really looking forward, though, to seeing where the Big 12 can go with these additions. I think they're going to have to pull somebody big. Maybe the Big 12 does kind of become an outlet for some of these other Pac-12 schools to go to. I would expect more so for a team like Oregon and Washington to probably go to the Big 10 as well. Stanford probably as well. You got kind of that academic connection with a school like Northwestern. Cal also probably goes to the Big 10. But then some of the, I don't want to call them leftovers because that kind of takes away from what they've achieved in their histories. But, teams like the Arizona teams or teams like Oregon State and Washington State, I could see potentially joining this Big 12. That would be, again, it'd be a level below what the Big 10 and SEC have, but I think they have a solid shot at surviving, because I believe my thoughts and just prediction is that the ACC kind of gets swallowed up by the SEC. We'll have to wait and see. If a team like a Florida State can have a big year and somehow ride the wave that they have to like a national championship, then maybe that kind of, I don't know, it either potentially draws even more interest from the SEC to get Florida State into their conference, or maybe it kind of gives the ACC some life. But it's been several years now since the ACC really competed for a championship. Clemson obviously had a couple in the last, 8 years or so, however long it's been since they got the first one, I think 7 years. So there's a lot going on in college football. Realignment it really is a mixed bag. There's a lot of people who feel like it takes away from the history of the sport and the regionality of it, which is what I think makes it so special. You get those regional rivalries, being able to not have to travel horribly far to go see teams that your team is facing. And so that does take away, but it also is exciting in a way, because just the, I guess, talent and what's the word I'm looking for? Just like, I don't know, the excitement that comes with schools that, more big time schools all kind of coming together into a couple of conferences. So it's an exciting time in college football. It's also, for people, especially, I me being one of them that love the tradition of the sport, it's not, ideal by any means, but I think it does create opportunities for other conferences too, to kind of emerge, and for teams to, I don't know. It promotes competitiveness maybe, while at the same time taking away a little bit, because it looks like the SEC and the Big Ten are going to emerge really over any other conferences that survive this. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below, what you think about realignment. If you think the Big 12 is in trouble, or if they're just kind of in a rebuild this year. I'll dive into it in another video. Texas, I think, is maybe receiving maybe a little bit overhyped. A lot of people saying that they have a really good shot to make the playoff. I think as much as they have a lot of returning experience, it'll be tough to go from an 8-5 season to anywhere near, especially having a road game at Alabama. I think if the matchup was switched, that last year they played at Bryant-Denny and this year they hosted, they'd have a really good shot to win that game. I don't see it happening this year, but again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, what you're looking forward to in this college football season, what are maybe some of the pros and cons for you with realignment, and let me know if you're looking forward to all the changes that are going to come with realignment, or if you're on the other side and you're kind of disappointed with that. But thank you so much for watching. If you've watched all the way to the end of this video, thank you for taking the time to watch College Football Talk. I'm Peter Burnett. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.